one. Boom. Vertical live, Chris.
Vertical live
Vertical.
for me.
We're going vertical
Yep.
today. Doing something a little different tonight with Chris, City Sticker Chris. Thank you for joining me tonight, buddy.
Sure.
Yep. So yeah, man. So
assassination.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about urban hunting and what we want to maybe do in the future here on our channels. What we want to bring to the people here. Um, you know, City Sticker Chris is kind of self-explanatory. You've been doing urban hunts your whole life. I'm into the urban hunting. A lot of my hunts that I have on YouTube are urban. I really don't stress that much when I'm doing my hunts here. I mean, I hunt Ohio. I've hunted all like a couple different places. I hunt Ohio, which is the big woods. But when I'm hunting around my house, it's urban, and then I have a camp down in Uniontown, PA. So those are like the big woods hunts of mine. But I do a lot of my the deer right behind me here. That was an urban deer. You know what I mean? Like that. Basically all the deer I have on my wall in my living room are all urban hunts. They've been taken in small plots. Jason, what's up, man? Living MM, what's up, Daniel? Thanks for coming in. Yeah, we're doing something a little different. I am relaxing today. Just hanging out with Chris. We wanted to do this, as you guys seen the thumbnail. We're both urban hunters, and we've been doing it for a long time. And I've seen that the urban hunting, Chris, and if you agree with me on this, I think you do. I've been seeing a lot more channels and just on YouTube and just general on social media, a lot of urban hunts. A lot of people are stressing the urban hunting. So I think on my channel, and I think on Chris's, we're going to introduce that to you guys. I think I have over 30 some years of experience of hunting urban because I've hunted my whole life in, at times urban hunting. So, we're going to be bringing you information, and we're going to cover a lot of that topic this year with you guys. And we're going to introduce it on both of our channels because Chris is from the city, but he moved out to the woods. So, Chris, do you want to add anything about the urban hunts? Because what I want to do tonight is we're going to get not in detailed with everything, but we're going to talk about some urban hunts and just what we experienced a little bit to introduce it to just to introduce it to everybody. And then throughout the season and, the upcoming season here, we're going to show people what we're doing and then include our hunting. And I'm going to make sure that I add in my titles and things like that it's an urban hunt. So I'm going to add like an urban hunt series to my channel this year. So, anything you want to add about urban hunting, or what do you want to do for this year?
Well, my was when I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, and when I turned 30, to that point, I a 10-acre patch of woods above my house, and as we ride our bicycles in the woods, and at about age 11, probably, I started seeing, but I didn't know what they were at the time.
Yeah.
On our bike, and
What's up, Chris?
I never here in that woods. But I've seen the hoof prints, and figured out that it was a deer. Being a city kid, never seeing a deer, I didn't know what that print. Like I said, when I found out about it, and then turned age 12, and Dad was like, let's get our hunter safety course in for you, and well, that's what turned me on. Riding my bicycle, seeing all them, there was deer in the area. On that hillside, that was the only place, I mean, local to me, because I lived on the northern side of Pittsburgh. If everyone knows anything about Oakmont Bakeries up that side of town, the Oakmont Country Club, where they're having for the 10th time, that's the kind of area I grew up in. People heard of the mall. out there.
That's not doing too well right now, Chris. You know that?
Yeah, that place is that's a
it's starting to get yeah.
You know,
yeah, it's starting to get run down.
And that was actually and that they took away by putting that mall in there.
Yeah.
But you know that me to deer, and Dad was hunting, and when us away in the car to we went to church in an area that's Borough.
Oh yeah.
We hunted in Plum Borough, farms and things up there, and it was along.
Yep.
You know, we hunt the hillsides there, and the urban stuff. We were never really successful until I started archery hunting. I actually didn't start when I was 17.
Yep.
So I got kind of a late start in that. And what had happened was by that point in time, Mom and Dad had bought a camp up here where I live now in Jefferson County, Cook Forest area. And I wanted to try the archery thing, but didn't want to buy an expensive bow. But Dad had.
Yep.
And so I practiced up with that and ended up going out and killing a deer with it. And that was up here. I still lived down. You know, I got the bug then, and I started like where I hilltop, I could see acre patch I'm talking about hunted. I could see that all the time. Like, you know what? I'm gonna go up there and take a little scouting trip, and I'm gonna get in there. And what it ends up being is it's between two, and so there's, and basically it's everybody's backyard. This big ravine. There was a creek, and there was one road that was between. In fact, that's probably as clear as mud. But there was anyhow that in these two paved roads. I knew the people, so I went up to visit them, and I asked him if I could hunt. He's like, "Oh, you can, but
yeah."
And you know, well, I ended up shooting my biggest buck in Pittsburgh off of that little 2-acre plot of land. And it was amongst, like I said, 10 acres total, but I could only hunt 2 of it because you know, that led right out of their yard into the woods, and the would crisscross through that property, through that ravine thing. They had the creek water there. They had all the grass they could eat, yards and things. They would raid everybody's gardens and all their expensive landscaping and things, you know. So it's so there's certain pros and cons to that urban hunt. And I have a whole different of an urban hunt going on. Yeah, I live out here in the sticks. Where I live is a camping community. Like in Ohio, come here to go to a campground and spend a week. And all around my house is a bunch of like campgrounds, but people real buildings, you know, and you know, 11 out of the year they're unoccupied. You know, so kind of nice in a way that they're not occupied, because then the deer get comfortable in time down here in the woods. 3 acres, but I have a landowner next to me allows me to hunt, and he's probably got below me. You know, the deer, he's got 50 below me. I've got 350 acres over there, and sanctuary over there. Nobody hunts it, and those deer come down into my woods, and it's still an urban hunt per se, because you're around all camps and all these properties and things. You just have to pay attention to where you're at, and if you're within safety zone, and actions you're shooting.
Yep.
It's kind of just it's almost the same but different.
Yeah. Now, Now in the chat, early in the chat, Chris, we got Daniel asking how many acres qualified as urban. I'm going to give you my spew on that real quick, and then I want to hear yours. It isn't really about the acres for urban hunting. It's actually location. Like we're hunting like neighborhoods and small wood plots. We're not talking acres. We're talking yards. You know what I mean? Like not yards, backyards. I'm talking about 100 yards, 50 yards, 80 yards, wood plots. Like funnels, small areas leading into bigger patches of woods. That's the kind of something. So urban hunting doesn't mean you're hunting 1 acre, so that's considered urban. It's about location and where you're hunting. Like city limits, things like that. And in my case, like how Chris said, it's the same, but it's different. That's what I want to get into is like, what is the difference and stuff like that. Like, and I believe that too. It's the same, but it's the same. It's hunting is hunting for deer. They all have their same traits and things like that. But I believe that there's a big difference between a big woods buck, and I'm talking about not about a 1.5 or 2.5-year-old. I'm talking about the 3, 4s, and 5s here. Obviously there's a big difference between age groups already. So 1.5-year-old deer, a 5.5-year-old deer, totally different animal. Okay, in my eyes, that's how I look at it. But a 1.5-year-old deer here in the city and a 1.5-year-old deer out in the big woods is a totally different animal because of the sights, sounds, smells, and everything in the city. They don't get that in that big woods. Like here, you're hearing traffic, you're hearing dogs barking, people run, kids playing, uh, sirens from ambulances and cop cars and things like that. There's activities in the city, like a lot of things going on in the city more than the big woods. So like somebody that's like, you're not going to smell bacon in the big woods or bacon and eggs in the morning, but when you're hunting in the woods, you'll catch whiffs of people's breakfasts. You'll hear the bus stopping at the bus stop. Sometimes, you'll hear somebody yelling for their dog. Like there's a lot of different factors. It's no way, I wouldn't say it's not easier in any way. It's just you have to wrap your head around the differences. Um, if you're a city, I would say if you're a city hunter and you've never hunted big woods, it's very difficult to make that transition from a city hunter to a big woods hunter. Now, if you're a big woods hunter, I think it's easier to make the transition from a big woods hunter to a city hunter because I believe you can get away with a little bit more urban hunting. And I don't want to say city, I'm going to go to urban because that's what we're going to be trying to make, add to our series is this year urban. But from big woods to urban hunting is a lot easier than urban hunting to a big woods hunt because I think it's more critical. Your scent, your tactics, and everything have to be a little more dialed in when you're in the big woods because it's like finding a needle in a haystack. Whereas in the urban areas, the deer are more concentrated. Like if we go out, I could probably take you out right now. We could walk down the street. I have this golf course down here on the street, and I've hunted it. We could go out there, and I guarantee you're going to see a deer. Okay, I guarantee we'll run into probably 10 deer if I took you through some people's yards and up into the woods. But go down the big woods, you might see 1 deer, you might not see any deer. There's a big difference in transition. So, Daniel, to answer your question on that, and if anybody has any questions, I want you guys to definitely chime in here and because we're going to be doing a lot of this urban hunting and bringing it to you, because I believe a lot of the people that have been hunting and a lot of people in our community do urban hunting as well. You know what I mean? So I just want to bring that out and open it up more. Open up the book and add to it and take from it as well for people.
You know what you mentioned the scent, and
Yeah.
big woods guys are pretty wary about what they do scent wise. But me being in the country, I'm in the around the house here, amongst the neighbors' houses and camps, and you know what a lot of guys here do, and you've probably heard of this, but a lot of guys smoke. They smoke their clothes.
Yep.
Instead of trying to trap,
Yeah.
they'll campfire
Yep.
and stand around the campfire and let those get all smoky smelling from a fire.
That's an old Indian trick.
Mm-hmm. And they'll head out and they'll hunt that, and constant around here, because especially once archery season hits, everybody starts up their wood burners. So outside my house is like that's
the norm.
That's
yeah, my buddy.
That is your air.
my taxidermist does that, and he has some old lockers, some school gym lockers that he has in his either outside or in his garage or whatever, and he smokes his clothes. He's been doing that for years. He uses one of those bee smokers, to smoke the bees out, and he does that, and he puts it in the in the locker, and he smokes his clothes before he goes out. But this year I gave him some of the Shield. I gave him some of the products of Shield. He was trying that. I didn't get any feedback on it yet, but I'm hoping to get some good feedback from that. But yeah. I think the smoke and everything, people put pine needles in a bag with their clothes, pine cones, pine needles. There's a lot of different tricks, but I think you can get away with a little more in the urban hunting. Now, big bucks are big bucks, and they're smart, and big bucks that live in the city are smart too. I'm not saying, but they're just a little, I would say, getting your eyes on a bigger buck in the city. If you got your eyes on a big buck in the city, if you find a big buck, first of all, your chances of getting him are better. I'm not saying they're 100% chance, but they're better of getting a bigger buck if you put your eyes on him and pattern him throughout the season in your city, or better to at least see him. I'm not saying take it, than you would be with a big buck in the big woods, because it's harder to see a bigger buck in the bigger woods. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then people will argue and say, well, if you pattern him out in the big woods, there's nothing out there. He's going to keep doing the same thing because of people walking there. Like, I've had this happen. So I'm just trying to get this out to people. That's how natives did it. Yeah. We talked about this, and I don't know if you've had experiences. I've had it. You're sitting in the woods, I'm in a pinch point off of 50 yards wide funnel coming down into a 100-yard square food, or not food plot, just wood lot in between houses and things like that. And the deer are usually eating in people's yards, because some people do feed the deer just because they like to see them. There's apple trees, pear trees, grapevines, peach trees, honeysuckle, people's gardens, people's expensive flowers in their yards and things like that. So the deer are eating that and walking right there through houses and backyards and driveways and all that. But if you pattern a buck in the city and when you're urban hunting, and I'm patterning a buck, I see him on my camera at 8:05 every morning and stuff like that. And then you're sitting there one morning and you hear a dog barking or something like that, or some lady lets her dog out in the yard when there's that buck is in that yard eating, making his way to you somewhere. And the dog goes out and that buck sees that dog and scares that buck off, and he goes the opposite way. So there's a lot of factors with this urban hunting that will dictate your hunt. You know what I mean? Like, it isn't like guaranteed, and nothing's guaranteed in the woods. But I think when you pattern a deer in the big woods, and if you have a deer coming consistently in the big woods, your chances of seeing that deer and maybe cracking a shot Thank you, IL. I appreciate you, buddy. You just gave us a super chat there for $5. Thank you very much. So the patterning of a deer in the big woods, if you're seeing it, I think your chances of seeing him out of your stand are better than, because there's so much that can go wrong in the urban hunt. You know, a deer's crossing the road and a car comes down, that deer stops, turns around and goes the other way. You might not see that deer again that day. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that you don't see that's got to happen for you to get that deer in those smaller wood plots, or they're going to head off to another wood plot, or they're just going to bed down in a yard somewhere and not move at all if they get spooked, because they know they're safe, because there is a 50-yard safety zone in the, city and things like that, where you're allowed to bow hunt. You have to be 50 yards away from any structure or anything like that. So there's rules pertaining to that. And there was a lot of controversy when people started that. Years ago, it was unheard of for people to hunt around here. You know what I mean? And it was like you said, growing up, we would build shacks in our woods right across the street from my mom's house. I shot a couple of these deer from my mom's house, and that's 80 yards away from my mom's front door. I could be in my tree stand and see my dad go to work. You know what I mean? So I've already had deer in my stand, and like my dad would come up and walk out, and I'd see that deer turn around and go the other way. So like you see all that stuff. You know what I mean? So I don't want to say it's. Go ahead.
I hunt below the house here, and I've that hangs in a tree.
Hey, Johnny.
I
Yeah.
in the house. you can see where I'm hunting down there, and because I have a food plot in the woods down. If the deer are feeding in front of me, and they look up and see them in the yard, but sometimes they, not too far away from where I am, there's a camp not too far off, and this lady would always let her dogs out about 10 minutes before dark at prime time. And she'd be out there, come on, Pookie, come on, go pee. Yelling, like, oh my gosh, go back in the house. That type of thing. I think I was telling you the other day, when I lived down there, and I think I told you this, when I lived down there in Pittsburgh, I shot, let me just, got set up, and I'm ripping through the woods on his dirt bike and was riding. And I probably sat there and watched this kid rip around on all these. Well, I had bumped a buck on the way in. Went off. Kid rode for, like I said, for like an hour. I just stayed. And I ended up shooting it. I mean, it does disturb them, but yet not so much. They don't go to like they do when you spook. You can get away with bumping a deer down there urban hunting. As far, they're quicker to forget because they're used to being bumped a lot. I think somebody in there asked. I think it was Indiana Chris. Asked if it was urban hunting was bow hunting only, and I mean not necessarily. If you can get away from the 150 safety zone from a house.
Well, let them know, Chris. Let them know about the 150 and the 50. Archery is 50, and the gun is 150. So
in the city limits. In the city limits, you had to bow hunt within of occupied building is how it's worded. I don't know how that goes for not occupied for 11 months. 50 yards with the bow, 150 yards for the gun. Usually that's a shotgun.
Yeah, they just changed that.
Nowadays you can use the muzzle loader, I believe.
Yeah.
That. Yeah, I mean, up there on the hillside, I would distances all the time, you know, or even the neighbor. I had an instance one time. I climbed the hill and in a trance that there was a specific tree I wanted to make it to without bumping.
Yep.
And I made it to the tree, and I used a climber, and I went. I sat there till dark, and the buck I was after didn't come. And I was getting ready, getting all my gear together, getting ready down on my rope, and I heard something. I turned around and looked. Was an and so we down to the ground and we started talking. I said to him, I said, dude, why didn't you wave me off or let me know, you was.
Yeah.
And he was like, you was being so quiet.
Yeah.
He said, what do I care this area with you? And I was like, man, thanks. That's really, really. It was crazy though. There was like a tree between us,
Yeah.
Quiet all night. I was quiet, and he or something. Yeah. I would have just went to another area.
Yeah. Now that's
come. Nothing. I climbed a tree. We both hunted that night. We didn't see anything, but
and that's the challenges. That's the challenges of doing the urban hunts too, because usually, unless you get private, and I do have access to private now. I posted it and everything, so I'm kind of like, yeah, that's nice. Thank you, Monica, for sharing links. If you could please share Chris's link in here, I'd really appreciate that. And I hope everybody in here could at least hit that like button. And on vertical, I don't know how you hit the like button. I think you got to go up and actually hit the like thumb on top and then hit the like. So please hit that like button, everybody. We appreciate each and everybody coming in here. This is something new that we're going to introduce to you guys this year on our channels. Chris and I are going to touch on, the urban hunting more. I'd say more than probably 60 or 70% of my hunts are urban hunts, but I've really never stressed that throughout my videos. And I'm going to start doing that because the tactics. Let's talk about the differences in tactics, Chris, real quick. And we're just, like I said, we're just skimming the surface right now. Throughout the year, we're gonna have series, and we're gonna talk about specific topics on urban hunting specifically. But like right now, we're just like trying to just scratch the surface a little bit with this. But what are some of the tactics and the differences in the tactics? So I want you to just explain like a tactic that you use that's different from big woods to the urban hunts.
One of the obvious major factors is that around my so the neighbors do benefit from some urban hunting as well. That's one of the major factors. I can have some food in the scrapes begin to mock scrapes now. Whereas when I lived in Pittsburgh, I didn't mess around with mock scrapes. I wasn't the scents, things like that. I'm still not a huge deer oriented. I love lures, and vines and overhanging branches and things. I love that stuff. But when you talk about tactics, one of the major game changers is trail cameras. Use them to your advantage. See where these deer are pinching, where they're from, or what direction their thoughts from, and that type of thing. Yeah. I mean, they're a wild animal. Yeah. You don't control them, know, but if you see them 8 out of 10 times, I'm going to hunt that spot. Yeah. or if there's a good pinch or something there, or some anything in topography that's different they like, I'm going to set up on, specifically the neighbors just timbered year or 2 years ago.
Okay.
The deer love to bed down there and all that garbage that's cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
They destroyed the woods when they took the wood out, and there's just garbage laying everywhere. Great for fire. The bed in there. Out of that bed, they weave their way through that all that garbage, all deadfalls and stuff. I get right on the corner of my property, far enough from it's outside of the safety zone, and I've got one killer spot, just ridiculous. But I just hung that stand right after running it a few times, and they walk right underneath the tree. Now, that being said, though, there's some huge limbs out in my shoulders. If I cut those limbs off, it would ruin the whole, because take a screen.
Gotcha. Yep.
I've got all these branches out there, and if like I said, that's my backdrop and things, and if I cut those off, it would I would get busted. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha.
Stand is going to be pretty much either crossbow or flintlock to hunt there. Big, but if I have to pick up a crossbow, something that I'm getting past, I'll use a crossbow. I'm not too proud to do it. I've killed, I mean, passion is regular vertical bows, but I've real nice.
Yep. So that's funny that you say that with the like you're a gland guy and all that stuff. Now I really like using the mock scrapes here in the city. I get a lot of that. Well, obviously this year you saw, and I used the Jinx Some Sense. I'm a pro staff member at Jinx Some Sense. Just started using those guys this year. They accepted me on the pro staff. So I've been pushing their products. I've been using them this year, and I was highly successful this year with my Ohio hunt and my urban hunt here in PA. We've had a lot of success down Uniontown with it as well, with getting deer on camera and just having deer in the area. But mock scrapes, lick and vine, I put one of them up down here on the private that I can hunt, and I had a ton of action. I'm really excited because at the end of the season, I had three nice bucks. I had two shooters this year there, but I'm excited that they made it because it was at the end of the season. And there was a third buck there that I didn't get a good look at that was, I believe, even bigger than the two. So I'm really excited for this year in that spot. And like I said, my buddy who runs my clothing shop has that land down there. And he gave me full permission to hunt it and post it and do what I need to do on it. So that's kind of nice for accessing the area and stuff like that. And one thing, with the scents, I have great success in the big woods with mock scrapes. It's a little more critical because you got to walk and you got to find the areas in those bigger woods, Chris. And I think you would agree with me with that. Like, you don't just like, I know in my areas where there's a funnel, where there's not a funnel in the urban hunts, because there's woods, there's houses, there's more woods. So I can get a topo of my neighborhood and say, okay,
you can definitely.
It's really, I think it's easier to find those funnels in here. So when the rut comes around, that's where I'm always in those spots. Now the big woods, you got to do a little bit of homework. Like if you're like, we're familiar with our lease, so we know where pinch points are and where not. But if you're hunting public big woods, you got to take a walk around. You got to spend some more time in the big woods to find that stuff. What's up, Matt from Wanna Be Outdoors? Thanks for coming in. Hit that like button if you haven't. But the difference in that, I think it's easier to pattern the deer here, like find those funnels and stuff here in the urban than it would be out in the big woods. And I'm talking about not skill level of you finding a pinch point, but looking at a map and saying, okay, those deer are here. If I see that here, I could basically guarantee there's going to be deer coming through there at some point. But if you looked on a map on the big woods, you would say, okay, that's where they're going. And then you'll go there and you won't find a buck rub. You won't see but one trail there. And it's just totally different because you have to put the boots on the ground in those bigger woods, as opposed to here. I think it's a little more simpler to pick a. If I had, if it was everybody was starting from the beginning, and you had the big woods and you had the urban hunts, I guarantee I could pick my stand here and put a stand there and see deer and probably take a deer. Then I would be able my success being in the big woods of just picking and going and hanging and hunting. Here you can hang and hunt and see you could see deer. Big woods, not so much. You have to do your homework a little more. So people are
Yeah,
gonna
you gotta
say
really.
people say that, oh, it's so much easier to hunt, the urban deer than it is the big woods deer. I think it's as equally as challenging, but they are different in both, in the ways that in certain
Yep.
ways, you know what I mean. But
Yep.
yeah, the mock scrapes, I look into those a lot. You've seen them this year with my cameras and stuff like that in my spot down here, and my cameras that are in Ohio. I get a lot more activity in my
When
funnel
we
activity here than I do in the big woods.
when we had that real bitter cold last week, heroes and stuff, I went out and pulled my cameras
Yeah.
because I figured the batteries would be dead. Well,
Yeah, I
to
still
my
have my
surprise,
cameras out.
I have cameras and only one camera, but
Uh-huh.
I had two of them on Vine on the edge of my food plot,
Yeah.
and they're still they're used. They use this stuff year round. I don't. I guess I want to stress. You
Uh-huh.
know, even if a mock scrape, they still come to this stuff. They might not be working the ground, they being in the scrape, but the important thing is sticking their face in it and rubbing their face on it. They're still communicating with that overhead.
And it's good for your inventory too, just to see what's in the woods
Yeah.
too, you know what I mean?
Yep. I had a really good buck on camera after season. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited
I
about the
mean,
upcoming season already.
I didn't have jack squat on camera.
Hmm.
I was not excited last year, and I I did my season as far as what I got
Yeah.
this year and the hunter. Um, I just I'm hoping this next year. I've got so many up.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Urban hunting is deer on camera. You don't know if you're ever going to see them again because they're going to get hit by cars. You know, an animal will run them off, or
Yep.
stuff like that. I mean,
Yep. Somebody else is
there's
gonna get them. Somebody else
yeah,
right
someone else,
on the
someone
other
else.
side.
It's sometimes you're hunting a goat.
Yeah.
You think you're hunting a specific deer, and it's already dead, gone
Yep.
somewhere.
Yep.
And luckily here, 2 years ago when I was in Maryland for that Sika hunt, while I was a little local 16-year-old granddaughter, while I was gone,
Hmm.
and
Yep. I
and
remember that.
luckily,
That girl
well,
shot that buck. Yep.
though, or I would have been trying to hunt a
Hmm.
You know,
And then you would have wasted. And
I
that's
would have
what's
waited
so.
through season.
Yeah, and that's what's so critical about the deer cameras. But I don't encourage everybody to use the deer cameras and hunt according to the cameras. But I am a big believer of the inventory and what the deer are in the area. Like if you're getting that, like you were getting that deer on camera, or if I'm getting a deer on camera all season up to the first day, and then it disappears like in later October, I can sort of, okay, my odds are it didn't get shot yet. It just changed patterns. But after that pattern change, if you're not seeing that deer anywhere else or whatever, it's either done or somebody else got it. But then usually some in these areas here, another deer will take over that area fairly quickly. You know what I mean? And it happens in the big woods too. When you have somebody in a dominant territory, when that deer is gone, it's just they know that that deer is out of there, and they another bigger buck will take over that territory because if you get a territory where there's a big buck in it, and this is something that I believe in. You don't have to believe me. You might have your own thoughts on this, but urban big woods deer, if I believe the dominant buck, and it goes to fishing and everything. The biggest fish is going to stay on the best structure in the lake. Okay, if I catch that fish off of that structure, and I don't eat them, but say I took a fish off of that structure, I take them home, I fry them up in a pan, and I eat them. The next biggest fish is taking over that where that property is, where that fish was, because it's the best spot in that area. It's where all the food comes by. It's the seclusion. It's whatever the ambush point that fish prefers at. That goes in deer hunting as well. If there's a big deer in the area, there's a reason that big deer made that home area because of bedding, food, thermal cover, water, whatever the situation is. That buck picked that area for a reason. Well, it's a little more. I think they get replaced a little quicker in urban than it does in the big woods, because I think here it's almost like there's bucks in line waiting to do that. They want to take over, but they can't because the dominant buck's in there. Once that dominant buck is taken out of the herd, the next dominant buck moves in fairly quickly in that area. So having the cameras out there are very, very important in urban hunting to keep it on. And I'm going to relate to this too. And this is what I base a lot of, and I watch a lot of this stuff. And it's Lee from Seek One when he's out of Atlanta and all that stuff. And that's where I really started watching him and seeing how he chases deer. And his theory is, he sees a big deer, he goes right after it. Now he goes knock on doors and things. I don't do that around here, knocking on doors and anything. I don't have time. I can barely hunt my spots that I have. I can't have 20, 30 spots. I'll go crazy if I have 20 or 30 spots, and I'd be thinking to myself, should I be there, or there? So I'm good with my 2 or 3 areas around the house, my camp, and then I have Ohio the lease. So I'm okay with that. And that's even too much at times. So I don't move around and jump and chase the deer. I sort of let the deer come to me over here. And I think urban hunting, you can do that more. And I'm talking about chasing a big buck. If you sit here in my area long enough, you're going to see a bigger buck or a shooter buck eventually. In the big woods, you got to move your stands. You got to chase them. You got to, you got to go after them more in the big woods than you do in these smaller plots. You know what I mean? So with that being said, it's a little easy. Hey, stop it.
One of the things I noticed though when I lived in the city was there was not a lot of visible rut in the city.
Stop.
Now, hunt around here, there's a ton of that's also due to population and things as well.
Yeah.
But I lived down there. I don't recall ever like seeing deer rut up, I guess because of deer numbers, they didn't have to compete.
Yeah.
Yep. And it was, there was enough deer there to be huntable. It wasn't like I was wiping a number of deer on that.
Uh-huh.
I took a lot out, and it just seemed like every time I shot one, it seemed like.
Yeah, for sure.
And what was really funny was when you urban hunt, like if you can't walk there, you better figure out how to strategically enter and bring a bunch of attention to yourself.
Well, that's the next talk. I'm glad you said that because that's something that I want to. Go ahead. You can keep. I will hit that whenever you're done explaining.
So when I there, I had a Mustang. I had a '79 Mustang hatchback, little 4-speed turbo.
Uh-huh.
And it was a 6-cylinder. It was pretty nice. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Hitch. Sorry, Chris. Hitch hit us up with the super chat.
Sweet.
Yeah.
But the moral of the story, there were so many trees on there that did not and would screw your hunt up on purpose if they had a chance.
Uh-huh.
My camo in my car,
Yeah.
I camo accents.
My man Hitch.
I look like the average dude,
Good, you could have came in.
Driveway.
Yeah, I would have come up and get it.
And I would get out and I would
just say hi, Pappy and I'm
put my camo on, enter the woods.
On that side.
Even that one night.
Hitch, my man.
A mother and 2 doe come out and hey Carly, how are you?
There's my daughter, my beautiful daughter. She just came back. She was out, so I wanted her to say hi. So thank you for saying hi, honey. Did you have fun?
Yeah, I did.
All right, we're talking deer hunting. You want to hang out and talk deer? She's like, no, I don't want to. I'm not a deer hunter anymore.
You don't want to hear that.
She's not a deer hunter anymore.
I loaded up in the hatchback of the Ford Mustang.
Yep. So here we go, Chris, real quick. Hitch, we hit our goal tonight. So we are doing a shirt giveaway tonight.
Oh, sweet.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to pick in the chat. We're going to pick a number a little later, and then you can pick something. You can pick a shirt from my my store, and I'll get you it sent out. I'll order it and send it out. Just go over whoever wins tonight and pick which shirt you want. Send me the link, and then I'll order it because I can get it shipped out really quickly for you guys. So thank you, Hitch, for doing that. I appreciate you, buddy. That was awesome. Thank you so much. But we hit our goal tonight. We got 5. So we're going to be everybody in the chat tonight will be eligible. We're going to do the old pick a number to win the t-shirt. All right, guys.
Probably going to hop off here, Ted.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
That rolling.
Yeah, we can do that. You want to continue real quick, and then I'll let you know when I'm ready to do that. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead. I'm going to jump off here real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, after we give this.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it could be very beneficial. Sure you got permission to be where you're at.
Yep. And there's one
nowadays if you do these Sunday hunts that they are now, you got to make sure you have written permission from the landowner on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's beneficial. I mean, there's people that you're
yep.
You're helping out the stray away that don't like that big buck I shot that I was telling you about earlier. I told you before that when I tracked right underneath a lady's windowsill while she was washing dishes.
Yeah.
The deer fell down in her yards from the house beside a big oak tree, was laying there dead. I parted the bushes and looked out. Oh crap, there's the deer. And I look up, standing there washing dishes in the window. I just went home. I waited till it got dark and I came back with
Yeah, there's some advantages and disadvantages, Chris, and then I'll let you. We'll do the giveaway real quick here, so you can be eligible for it. Um, the the shot placement of urban, like when you're hunting urban in these small wood plots, you got to put a good shot on these deer. I mean, you don't want them running to 100 yards here. You could have went through 5 different yards, and end up on somebody's porch. So you got to be very self-conscious of your shot. You got to make sure you put a good shot on it. If you've seen my videos from here, those deer don't run more than 50 yards, 30, 40 yards. I try to get them within 10, 20 yards. I don't take long shots here at all. I wait till they get up close and in my guarantee zone, basically, which is if they're in 20 yards, they're done. But you want to put a shot on that deer, you want to definitely double lung them or heart them, because your life can get miserable really quickly, and you can get a lot of slack from people and neighbors, and you can ruin spots here as well. And that's just because of, say, I'm hunting on my buddy's property, and I'm shooting deer that are not, giving me good shots, and they're running into neighbors' yards with arrows stuck in them, running through people's yards, blood trails over their driveway, and those people know that I'm hunting on their neighbor's property. Well, then those neighbors get together and they start calling that neighbor out that's letting me hunt there, and then all of a sudden my permission to hunt there goes away because he don't want to deal with that. So you got to be very mindful when you're hunting on these small urban spots, is to make sure you are putting a shot on that deer that will put them down quickly. You know what I mean? All right, so real quick, we're gonna do the giveaway, guys. So this is for a shirt. It could be any shirt. I'm not just. I said T-shirt tonight, but thank you, Hitch, for doing that. I appreciate it. It's gonna be for any off the hook shirt on there, long sleeve, short sleeve, performance or not, any shirt you want on my website or on the Inksoft store in my description. So my description is not in this video right now until after this airs. So go to one of my videos, and while you're over there checking out the description, let the video run. Go check out my description. Go to my apparel store, click on it, browse through the shirts, get the number of the shirt, send me a picture, email me at tedpolanowskijr@gmail.com, a picture of the shirt that you want or the number on it and the color, and I will order that out tomorrow, and you will get the shirt fairly quickly, like within a couple days probably. So we're going to do, how many people are in here, Chris? We got 16.
I see 16.
16 right now. Okay, so let's do a number from 1 to 25, and I'm gonna. I guess I gotta write it down because I don't want nobody saying that I changed it or whatever. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna grab a piece of paper. I'm gonna write it down in the other room. Bring it in with me. So Chris, talk about real quick while I'm gone, because I'm gonna talk about this when you leave. Is access in the big woods and access in these urban areas. And I'll be right back.
Right. So yeah, you want to be discreet. I used to watch. I watched a man that had a scent company and owned a deer farm area in Pittsburgh. He was from, and Bob Kirshner was his name.
Kirshner
made a video. He went local. I can't remember what it was, down there in a shopping plaza. And he parked in the rear of the plaza and got dressed on the edge of the wood line there. Wood and hunted. So less intrusive as possible.
Yep.
And yeah, just don't bring publicity to yourself. Be real.
Yep. Cool. All right, let's do this real quick so you can jump off here. So we're gonna go.
Yeah.
Now we have 10 people in here right now, so some people left or whatever. But right now, guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tap go in the chat, and then we're gonna I'm gonna hit go, and then I'm gonna, where the heck is my stuff at here?
I don't even know if I can.
Can you text me the number? Oh no, I can't get the text either.
No, I can't do anything.
Okay, well I'll send you a shirt anyway. How's that, Chris? We'll send you a shirt too for being on here tonight. You got to get some apparel anyway, because when you're on my lives, man, I want you to be sporting some off the hook gear.
When I come over to the fishing,
yeah, there you go.
I'll be wearing the off the hook shirt so I can
for
look
sure.
good on the boat.
All right, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit go in the chat. We're going to pick a number from 1 to 25. The person is closest without going over. And if the same number is picked, we're going to go with the first person in the chat. So I may need some help from people in the chat. So let's do the old stop. My dogs are growling at the dog on TV. All right, so go ahead, guys. Pick from number from 1 to 25. Person's closest without going over wins. And we're going to let that roll for a second. Now, access, I believe that's very important. I have great access, and you could ask my dad with my stand down here. Is the I park in the parking lot. I get out. I don't slam my car door. Close the car door. I'm up through the spot. My spot that I have. It takes me about probably 5 minutes to get in my stand. And that's very important in these urban areas, because if you're trotching through these small wood plots, you're putting your scent out there, you're making noise. Those deer will move out of there and they don't have to come back in those small wood plots the rest of the day. They'll go sit somewhere else or in somebody's backyard. So getting in quickly, up in a tree, set up. I like to get in there well before dark. I mean, before light, you know what I mean? And set up, and I've been pretty successful with that. Now, big woods, same thing. Wind, you got to, people don't think that wind and all that stuff matters even in these urban hunts, but it does. The deer that are in there and the wind that's blowing into them, they know you're there. They're not going to come over there. They know, and I am a strong believer, and a lot of people disagree with me on this, but I don't I feel strongly about this. Is the scent, the strength of a human scent, or the strength of your scent, matters to a deer. I think the stronger the scent, the stronger they smell your scent, I think they feel that you're closer to their area. They react differently than, like, if you have I don't know, in your kitchen, you're cooking, you know what I mean? And when you walk into your kitchen, if you're frying bacon, you could smell that bacon in the kitchen, okay? Strongly. But if you're down the street a little bit, you get a faint smell of that bacon, okay? So you know that somebody's cooking pretty far away. But if you're in the kitchen cooking it, you get the strength of that bacon is, that's where they, I think, know that you're close. So they'll react differently if they feel that you're in the area. They're in more danger. The closer, the stronger the smell of your human scent is. So I still go through all the scent, the scent elimination. I use the Lemon Shield products. I believe is the best product on the market for doing that. So I try to take all the precautionary steps the same way in urban as in big woods hunting. Wind, scent free. I use the extend from the Lemon Shield and all that. So I think we're done picking, right? Everybody's just about done picking. I only got, how many people do I got even picking? I don't have too many. 1, 2, 3, 4. I only got 4 people to pick so far. How many people are in here? 12. So
I still see 12 right.
And there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 picks. So guys, pick a number from 1 to 25. We're gonna give it about another minute, and then we're gonna pick it.
10, 7, 9. There's a lot of room there.
Yeah, there is. One of Matt says, whichever way the wind blowing depends which way I go in during the urban hunt. Yeah, and my thing that I have with that is I always enter on the dominant winds in my area. I always set up my stands that the dominant wind favors me. So a west wind, north winds are bad for me. A west wind is good because I'm on a hill. They're bedding below me. So when I do set up my stands, if I have a bad wind, because I only have one stand set up in these areas now. It ain't like I have 2 or 3 stands set up in these small wood plots, because truncing around in that wood area because of the wind, I think does more damage than me getting in there, getting up, and I'm higher than the bedding area, so my wind is blowing over them, and I have better success that way than I would if I would put 2 or 3 tree stands up. So, but yeah, that's all that is all of the picks we got for the shirt. So we're gonna I guess we're gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna do it right now, guys. So we got
Who's the closest?
we got IL, we got 10, we got my dad at 17, we got Matt at 18, and we got my mom at 9. And the number is 19.
Somebody missed it by 1.
Yep, and that would be Matt from Want to Be Outdoors.
Yeah, he was 1 away.
He was 1 away. So Matt, you won the shirt. So go over to my shop. We got we hit our goal tonight. We got 5 super chats of $5 or more. So that's awesome. So thank you, Hitch, for making that happen tonight. He was a big part of that tonight. I got my dog squeaking a squeaky toy that I can't stand, but that's okay. We'll let her have fun. At least somebody's having fun during that time. But she's squeaking it right now. She didn't use that all day until I go live. Now she's squeaking it. So. But that's good. Matt won, so she's squeaking a toy, right? So Matt, you won, buddy. So go over to my store, pick out the shirt you want, and I will. And I have your address, but send me the address anyway, along with the with what shirt you want, Matt, and then I'll get that sent out to you, buddy. But Hitch, thank you for doing that. Logan, thank you for donating tonight. Hitch, thank you for donating. I appreciate that. And on my lives, that's something that's new is these goals on YouTube. So I'm going to be putting goals up when we do lives and stuff. And if we hit them, we'll do a giveaway for the people that are in the chat. So stop, dog.
So I'm going to have to scoot.
All right, man. Yeah, brother. Thank you for getting on.
Posting links and stuff in there. And
you're gonna see we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff together too, Chris, with this urban stuff, and then we got food plotting coming out.
Just want to remind everybody to get on over to the channel and subscribe and give me some.
Yep.
Podcast, the Whitetail Session, every Sunday at 5 p.m.
Yeah, for sure, buddy.
A lot of good information in there.
Yeah, and then we got to get you up to burrow fishing this year. For sure.
Yeah, I got to get to the burrow.
Yep, for sure, for sure.
So, all right, guys, I'm going to hop off.
All right, man.
I'll talk to you later.
Later, buddy.
See you, bud.
All right. Hitch, thank you for making that happen tonight. I appreciate you doing that. Go over, check out Hitch. By Hitch, he has a great channel over there. He just did a giveaway not too long ago. He had a bunch of stuff. He does really big giveaways, man. He does a bunch of stuff. I know he does stuff for his members as well. I don't have any memberships for my channel, but I do have sponsor packages. If you guys want to know anything about the sponsor packages, just email me at tedpolanowskijr@gmail.com. And that's about it for tonight, guys. And this new urban thing, like I said, I've been doing it for years and years. Every deer on this wall in my living room is an urban deer. I have a few from Ohio. I have a few from Uniontown, but all the ones that I have mounted on my wall right now, besides the one downstairs, it's an Ohio deer that's mounted. There will be a big Ohio deer in this living room. Probably next year, there'll be a big deer, my biggest deer of my hunting career, I guess you could say. But that's going to be on the wall next year. But all these deer right here are from urban areas. So just keep an eye out for all the urban information that I'm going to be putting out this year, where I'm really going to focus on showing you the tips, tactics, and things and what's worked for me in the urban areas. And hopefully that can help you as well. So thank you for coming in tonight, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. We wouldn't be doing this without you. We appreciate you. You give us the drive to do all this. So thank you very much. If you get a chance, please subscribe to our channel. Hit that notifications bar, the bell to all, so you can be notified whenever we upload new videos and do giveaways like this. Come into the lives. What else do I have? I'm going to be doing some live bait making coming up every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. I premiere a video on my channel, so keep that in mind. I appreciate everybody coming there. I'd like to have more people coming into the premiere. We're growing, so that's great. I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys. I learn from you guys, and hopefully you can take something from me as well. So appreciate y'all. Have a great night. Thank you. And like I always say, take a kid fishing or hunting. We want to preserve our sport and pass it on to future generations. And we will see you.